Welcome to the Untold Tales audio anthologies. Written by M C Neuffer and narrated by Melissa Del Toro Schaffner. Chance choices. Is this seat taken? I asked. The walk from the long-haul transit station created a need to quench my thirst, rest, and find shade. I'd been given a voucher for breakfast at a place called Colony. Standing elbow to elbow at the counter wasn't appealing, but the coffeehouse tables were full, except for one in the patio's corner next to the sidewalk. He sat alone. 3 empty chairs stood as sentries. It never entered my mind why nobody else advanced the same question under the crowded awning. Without looking up, he waved a hand in a universal outward offer. A surrender of his island to me, a new arrival, marked by a green wristband. The rattling scrape of metal chair legs raking on cement acknowledged my acceptance of the seat across from him. A pleasant position to give me the breeze and a view of those passing by. No one hurried or had a forward-leaning attitude to imply things needed to be done, even though everyone knew there wasn't much time left. I studied my table-mate over the rim of my cup. I sipped while he engaged with his tablet, swiping, pausing, tapping. Nothing terribly notable. An average man, easily forgettable and unremarkable in a group. After some seconds or a minute, shorter than a minute, longer would have been rude and my cup less full, he raised his head. Those eyes, unforgettable, piercing. Vacant? I'd seen pictures, knew what they signified, why they'd been designed as unmistakable beacons. Before being resettled, my opportunity to chance upon an artificial person, an AP, had been as slim as rain falling on the scorching sands of New Chicago. Sands so familiar in my first quarter-century existence, now far away and blowing away. How to proceed? Fake my way? Utter a half, slightly less than dismissive word? I couldn't see the reaction of those behind me, the other morning sippers and munchers. Had they seen my transport bag? Taken me for what I was? Accepted I wasn't responsible for knowing social protocol? Though I didn't turn my head, the light rattle of dishes and conversations didn't change. No sudden pause. I took that as a sign I wouldn't be ridiculed or accosted for making a cultural misstep. Seeing my discomfort, he rescued me. A slight smile, a knowing, a whisper shared. There are many descriptive words which begin with an A, he said. Augmented, advanced, accepted, abomination. Make your choice and live with it. My name is Fuller. Yours? This stuck as more than a challenge of some bias, not an accusation, but rather an overture for exploratory dialogue. It was my choice whether or not to walk through a door held open. Adapted, I said. My name is Thomas. He laughed and leaned forward with serious intent. Agnostic. Looking back, I understood so much from him from that one word. By the way, he said it with such determination, enunciating each syllable, marching them in cadence to not be mistaken for holding only a religious meaning, a practiced and indifferent intellectual poise. The memory of that day, the hour, the exact minute we met is crystal solid, so unexpected, seared in my mind by the fiery brand of that one word. Where are you assigned? Fuller asked. Living quarters, employment, transportation, and sector limitations were controlled for resettled people until the bounty was repaid. 6 months, I'd been told. 6 months of bartering my skills for the good of all to keep the anthill of civilization running smooth. The excess, my excess, would be converted to digital credits and free-range privileges. New Chicago was being drained by voluntary relocation. The spigots were being throttled, making a choice not a choice as the infrastructure failed. Easier to let it degrade than replace or repair. Allow the place to rot. Then give the city over to the minor mechs to chew the place up for raw material, to make new things and life palatable elsewhere for the last generations, before everything was handed to the APs on a titanium platter. I answered his question. Radisson Towers, Sector 37, Phazon Corporation, Waste Stream Management, I said, then added, they make tubules. A soft landing for you, he said. Most resettled have it worse now, knocked down several rungs for their restart. I believe I earned my slot. It was uncomfortable being quizzed by an AP. I wanted to finish my drink, move along, and check in at the sector gate. Then he said something curious at first, then startling, then sharp-edged. We don't hold beliefs. They didn't tell you that, did they? A statement. It makes us more efficient. He sighed and ran his fingers over the table's edge as if searching for imperfections, a single grain of salt. An unintended consequence, he said. We need proof before accepting anything. He flicked his hand, brushing away an annoyance. The way our minds work. Why point out our differences? We're all supposed to be equal, keep things going until a cure is found, to put humanity back on track. Was he testing me? A new arrival? Playing some twisted game? I leaned back and said, I don't harbor prejudice. I won't deny you your place. Thinking this would cap the subject. Like everyone, I'd learned the proper mindset, the way of cooperation in school. The way had taken 3 generations to instill. Ancient history to me. Some radicals still held out in forgotten corners, left to short, brutish lives. He accepted I wasn't biased and said, Nor I. Yours. APs aren't bench warmers anymore, not fill-ins for the fertility deficit. PV-25, the primate virus, the initial cause of the downward reproduction spiral. Days and weeks could flow by without me thinking about it, without worrying about the end rushing toward us. Just part of the normal. Like everyone alive, I'll be long dead. His statement about beliefs sounded like bullshit to me. Even if the APs have an extra pair of chromosomes, 24 to our 23, they're still human. The purpose of their creation was a workaround. My passage and position here were enhanced with preferences given to semi-fertile men and women. Those above the 10% probability line are selected for remating, hoping for a turnaround by artificial selection. That's where true prejudice lies. Prejudice and resentment, the yin-yang. Murder of a fertile brought speedy trials and faster summary execution. My thought track rankled, disturbed. I made to stand. Please, stay, Fuller said, pointing to the local station across the street. Transportation to your sector isn't scheduled for another hour. Though the morning commutes were thinning, vacating tables, I said, I should make room for others. This is mine, the owner's table. No one will sit here unless invited. He smiled, genuine this time. After all, this is your last free day for a while. Enjoy. There's someone I want you to meet. Waiting here would be more comfortable, more interesting, if even occasionally irritating, than across the street. Plates of fruit and pastries landed between us, set down by automated servers. A fresh cup of coffee replaced my empty one. Fuller tore off the end of a croissant and buttered the exposed softness. I noticed his fingers were long, slender, moving in fluid concert, almost pleasant to watch. By unspoken agreement, we ate in silence until his guest arrived. Until Una arrived, to change the world. She moved as gracefully as Fuller's fingers, a sway and flow, seeming to belie gravity. She wore a loose coverall that did nothing to hide her litheness, her athletic grace, and her form. She reached across the table. I reciprocated for a handshake. Instead, she cupped her hands, and closing mine, seeming to protect. Eyes like Fuller's danced in amusement. "I want to have a baby," she said, holding my hand longer. Long enough for me to understand the full meaning as I fell, lost in her azure glaze. Fuller's voice broke the spell. "It's possible," he said in a measured tone. "We've been doing it for 20 years, matching APs and selected fertiles. In vitro doesn't work. Percentages are too low." Anticipating my next question, he said, "We screened your genetic report." No surprise in that. Not much privacy existed, and less was expected. I asked, "Aren't APs fully fertile? The same as we were before the virus?" Thoughts of joining with Una were a primitively lush idea, a voluntary engagement not scheduled by the agency. Fuller ignored my use of "we" as an exclusionary pronoun and fiddled with a button on his vest. Then those eyes drilled me. "We are, but our inability to hold beliefs holds us back." There it was again, a separation of the species, a considered vulgar expression to the extreme. I waited, knowing some reveal was coming. Seconds ticked, enforcing a seriousness that pressed down on the sky, enslaving everyone who walked under it. "We need to go to the stars," said Una. "We need to believe we can." I'm a product of mankind's age that has lost that urge and stopped taking up other big challenges. Instead, we turned inward, keeping mild nostalgia for frontiers and those who had pushed toward them. Those people, those legends, were now demigods in a vacant panoply. Fuller tapped the table. "We've considered everything, extrapolated, projected overlays, only to come up short. We realized for our project to succeed, we need the God gene, be able to believe beyond factual acceptance." Una spoke quickly to avoid confusion, to ensure I could swallow all this. "It's not really a gene. If it were, we could make the correction, the addition, find the mystery of it." No, I never forgot Fuller, never misplaced the memory of our first and last meeting. 92 years ago, I didn't report to Sector 37 and never started my new job. He arranged a buyout payment for my relocation bounty and brought me into the blended AP society. Our children, our 4 generations, can still see Earth's sun through telescopes. I've not looked, though the young remain interested in the home we left. The hybrids who designed, built, and run the ship believe we'll make it. They want to see, reach, and find. The APs of the colony go for different reasons. Reasons I don't fully understand, but Fuller gave the best answer when he told me I'd never wake up every day looking at the faces of those whose image I was made in. As for the rest, like me, the last ones, we take our chances and relocate. Thank you for listening. We love our listeners, fans, patrons, and supporters. We'd like to hear from you and let us know what you think. The best way to do that is to subscribe on our website, untold-tales.com. We want to make sure that we are creating stories and an experience that you're enjoying. So subscribe on our website. That'll put you on our email list. Again, thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.